Hi, it is Monday, and it's Iris Sirianni, and I wanted to do this live video this morning. I haven't been doing too much video lately. I've just kind of, just been relaxing and going to conferences and kind of easing my way into summertime here. But I wanted to share some things that I've kind of learned along the way in the last couple weeks, and kind of just share some insights and things like that. So a few weeks ago, I went to a Kyle Cease live event. It's called Evolving Out Loud. And Kyle Cease, if you don't know who he is a comedian. And at the height of his career at the Comedy Central network, he decided to not do comedy, stand-up comedy, the way he was doing it anymore. He wanted to do something different. He wanted to do transformational work. So what he did was he stepped away from a very lucrative career in stand-up comedy, and he made the transition to doing transformational work. And he's brilliant because he infuses his comedy into his transformational work. So me being a student of personal development, he does these events in San Francisco, and I've been following him for a little while. And so I went to one of his events in California, and it was a really amazing experience because not only did I get to see him live and be around people like 1,400 other like-minded people who really are looking to transform themselves and transform their lives. And that's kind of a little bit what I want to talk about in terms of how that affects our relationships, transforming our lives in terms of our relationships. And so I went to this event, and for me, it was, I've done lots of traveling. I'm not new to traveling, but the whole experience of traveling to California, staying in an Airbnb, my first experience with Uber, navigating LAX and getting onto a shuttle and finding my way about, and really just being there in my off hours by myself was really quite the experience. I really enjoyed it, and I was outside of my comfort zone quite a bit of the time, but it was okay. It was really a lot of fun. And I got some really significant takeaways out of there. I'm always looking for ways that I can just be a better version of myself, so that I can be a better version for my clients and show up better in my life, period, and for my clients. And if you don't know who I am a dating and relationship coach, and I help mostly women, but not to exclude the men. I help them connect to who they are, so that they can be authentic in all of their relationships, whether they are in a relationship already, or if they're just out dating. So here are some of the takeaways that I had personally from that whole weekend experience. One of the things that I realized is that true transformation, it really is challenging because, well, for me anyways, but it's really challenging because we really have to be determined to let go of things that don't align with who we want to become. And we are so ingrained with a protective mechanism within ourselves, just so that it keeps us safe. And we have all kinds of excuses, and we have all kinds of stories why we can't do things. Well, one of the things that I have been talking about for, way too many years is training for a figure competition. And I have made multiple attempts at, starting and then stopping on that road to doing that figure competition. So what I made a commitment to do in order to have this true transformation, because it really is a mindset thing, right? I mean, there are things that I'm going to have to let go of, and I'm going to have to look at, okay, why do I feel I need that? That's going to keep me away from my health and fitness goals. So, but for me, it started out with just really a dedication and a commitment to making sure that I eat properly and that I get to my training sessions as I'm supposed to. So every day, it's a constant reminder of just, focusing on, that goal and why I want to have that in my life. And the thing, whatever I need to let go of, like, that fear of who am I going to become? What will my life look like? How will it change as a result of me, being in the best shape of my life? I don't know the answer to that, but all I can do is hang on to that feeling of how do I want to feel and why do I want to do this? Well, I want to do this because I want to live a long, healthy life into my senior years, and I want to be around for my kids and grandkids and great-grandkids, and I want to be healthy. So that's kind of my goal, and it's just a personal accomplishment that I just want to be able to succeed at. So that is one of the commitments that I made to my own change and my own evolution. And actually what I'm going to do is create a private Facebook group and just kind of post my progress along the way of how I'm doing. And so that helps me be a little bit more accountable as well. So that's number one. The other thing that I committed to doing, and it's something that I've always I've done for a long time, but not in a real committed and dedicated way. And I've talked about it lots on any training that I do and any lives that I do. And that is meditation. Meditation for me is actually quite transformational. And, I think probably the biggest thing for me is that when I allow myself to be quiet within myself and just kind of, shut out the outside world for a little bit and just have that time and space for me, it gets me into this place where I no longer feel like I need to engage in drama that is circulating around me. And what do I mean by that? So what happens is that when we make a commitment to ourselves to change something, a limiting belief, a habit, a pattern, whatever it happens to be, when we make that commitment to change something, what ends up happening is that things will show up in our lives that are going to try and stop us from moving forward. It's almost like the universe is kind of testing you to make sure that what you say you want is actually what you want. So what meditation allows me to do is, number one, it allows me to be creative. And in my business, that's super important. I need that quiet headspace so that creative ideas can come through me. And it allows me to not take on everybody else's stress and things that they have going on in their life as my own. And it allows me just to be supportive in a non-fixing kind of way, because I tend to be that way, that kind of fixer type person. I like to jump in and claim everybody else's responsibilities as my own responsibilities. And as you can imagine, that, can be like a heavy burden to carry your own stuff and everybody else's stuff. So that's two things that I took away from that weekend, and how it's going to transform me. And I don't know what life is going to look like moving down the road. I don't know, how personally I'm going to change or whatever, but, I've just made that commitment to myself that, whatever, I'm just going to go with whatever feels good to me. and it'll be great, whatever the outcome is. So how does all of this, why does this have anything to do with relationships and dating? And so I wanted to give you a little bit of that background information on, that commitment to change and letting go of limiting beliefs and things that you have. Because what I want to say is that the more connected you are to yourself, which means the more you take care of yourself, the more you lean into your own happiness, the more you do things that make you happy personally, the happier you are going to be in your relationships. Now, a lot of people will say, well, I don't have the time to do things that make me happy because I have children, or I have, a busy work schedule, or whatever it happens to be. The more you give of yourself without giving to yourself, the more stressed and the heavier you're going to feel, not in terms of weight, physical weight, but the heavier mental and emotional weight that you're going to carry around. It's like, I'm sure you've heard the analogy about being on an airplane. Put your own oxygen mask on before you help somebody else. You're no good to anybody else if you're not healthy enough to take care of yourself. So when it comes to dating and relationships, quite often we pin our happiness, success on something or somebody else. And in a relationship, it's the somebody else. And if you can hear that calling in, that's somebody calling me, and I'm just going to ignore that. But so what we do is we make somebody else responsible for our own happiness. And we might find somebody to be happy with, but at the end of the day, what happens is that we'll be happy in that relationship for a certain amount of time, and then because we haven't fulfilled that thing that makes us happy within ourselves, we will then become unhappy again, and we set the relationship up for a whole lot of disappointments and angers and frustrations and things like that. So really, the key to having a happy relationship is to be happy yourself. And the happier and more satisfied you are within yourself, the happier and more satisfying your relationships are going to be. And for many of us, that can be quite a challenge, right? Because we have been, it's bred into us, number one, that external things to us make us happy. Being in a relationship makes us happy. Life is easier when we're in a relationship, and while that might be true to a certain extent, that is not completely true in terms of sustainability for happiness in a relationship. So the more you can lean into your own happiness, the more you can do the things that make you happy, and without fear of what anybody is going to say, and just do whatever makes you feel good and what makes you feel happy. And if people around you don't like what you're doing, that's okay. That has nothing to do with you. That has everything to do with them. But you shouldn't hold yourself back because somebody is not going to like what you're doing. You should always lean into your happiness. That's basically what I have to say about that. And for me, leaning into my happiness is, finally committing to this figure competition and doing that meditation so that I can stay connected to myself and not, get overwhelmed and fearful and all of those kind of things. And so I wanted to share that with you. And I'm going to be sharing a lot more, actually, in a very straightforward and pointed kind of way when it comes to dating and relationships, specifically about the relationships that we have with ourselves and how it impacts our relationships. So I want to finish up today's video with this kind of notice. And this is kind of something that I've been mulling over as I've been taking a little bit of a hiatus in showing up and doing these videos. And what I'm going to be doing is sending out an invitation to be interviewed. So what I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to be talking about this again later on the week, and we'll give you all of the details, but I'm going to be interviewing men and women on their experiences with dating and relationships. And I'll just let you know that, if you do want to be interviewed, watch for the videos coming out this week, and I'll let you know when I'm ready to go and when you can get in contact with me and how you can get in contact with me. But I'm really excited to be going on this next journey within my business and being able to help you with your dating and overcoming your blocks and limiting beliefs and your fears around relationships and datings and things like that. So that's all I have for today. Love to hear your comments, and until next time, have a great day wherever you are. Bye.